How are you all doing today? I am Isaac Travis and you are watching IT Creations. Today we are going to be working on our C4 Corvette. Today we are going to be putting in a AC pump bypass or delete, whatever you want to call it. We are going to be deleting our AC compressor. So why I'm deleting my AC compressor is, look at this thing. This thing is a race car. I mean, who needs AC in a race car? Actually, this thing used to be a race car. Little backstory on this Corvette. I haven't ever told you the full story on this car. So this thing was actually a barn find. It was sitting for quite a few years in a storage unit. And when I went to buy this car, I was talking to the guy and he actually bought it from some guy that was racing it for quite some time, and they did a whole bunch of mods and different stuff to this car, and they kind of deleted the AC way back then, but they never removed the compressor and some of the stuff in the engine bay. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be deleting all of it completely and cleaning up the engine bay and making it way nicer, getting rid of a little bit of a weight and getting rid of some strain on the motor. This is going to be a lot better for the car, at least for what I do with it. It is very nice having AC, but I definitely am never going to have it in this car, and I don't really care to. So let's get into it. This is my AC compressor, and that is what this piece right here is going to replace. It is going to be a whole lot lighter just removing this with that. But what I want to do is I want to remove this condenser and all these lines, and I want to see how much stuff I can remove from here. And I am going to also remove the other AC like radiator up in there with my radiator. And then in the future, I want to remove this smog pump. I do not like the smog pump, and it is really stupid. So I'm going to remove the smog pump. For those of you that don't know what that does, is it just blows air down your exhaust pipes to kind of help blow out gases and stuff. Only for emissions, absolutely useless. More strain on the motor. So I want to get rid of that as well. But today we are going to be focusing on the AC condenser, or compressor, I mean. So let's get started. Okay, I got a ton of stuff ripped out, as you see. And look at this. This is just absolutely crazy. This thing has been making horrible noises. I'm going to make a all new fan box, but doesn't have all of this cooling system in it. It is just going to be just a fan, so I can still defrost my windows. But we are gonna get rid of that mess, and we are going to pick up all this wiring. We're gonna clean it all up, zip tie everything together that we don't need, and hook everything else back up. And yeah, it's really getting there. As you see, we got a lot of stuff pulled out right here. It's a huge mess. That is a lot of weight taken out of the car. Now I'm gonna go back and start putting everything back together. But let me show you. There was a couple bolts down here. There was one that was right about here that was really hard to get to. And then there's one there, one there, one there, one, let's see, right there. And yeah, there was one up there too. And one there, there's one there, and there's one right here. The one right here for me, somebody fiberglassed that stupid air box right there and went over the bolts, so I couldn't get to it. So the only choice I had was just to rip it out. I'm gonna re-fiberglass that and make it look nice. But that is a lot of stuff out of there. Let's come back over here. This is where our bypass is gonna go. Looks I put everything back together, put that bolt back in. That bolt was pretty hard to get to with that hex socket, but we're getting there. That radiator, I'm gonna be pulling out sometime. It can just stay in there for now until I feel like ripping it out. I'm sure there's a ton of leaves and a huge mess in there that needs to be cleaned up as well. So let's start picking everything up, cleaning this out, and putting everything back together and get that bypass on there, and we will see how she runs. I got all this put back together, looking really nice. Got my piece of my frame bolted back in. Got all my wiring just zip tied right there till I figure out what I want to do with it exactly. But that is looking nice. Let's hook up our bypass. Now we are going to take our bypass. There's a small hole and a big hole. The small hole goes towards the top, and the big hole goes towards me on this side. So we're going to take our bolt very nice. Now my bolt for the back, somebody else has already taken it out and lost it, so it was good for me because it made it easy so I don't have to remove this whole assembly, and with the tension on it and everything, I just had to remove the AC condenser. But if you got this bolt in the back, you're going to have to remove this front, and then you can take it out the back, because you ain't gonna be able to remove your valve covers and everything to just get out one bolt. So the only problem I see with this bolt is, as you see how close that tolerance is right there. So I'm gonna probably grind it off one side and give it a little bit more room, maybe cut the top just a little bit so it won't be as close. Okay, I got one side ground off, and that's really nice. Now I should be able to put it right in. We got our belt hooked back up. Now we can put this thing back in. I believe this is a part of the smog pump and the EGR. One of these days I'm gonna try and delete all of this stuff, but it just goes right back in here, hooks up those two hoses and bolts up. These little hoses hook back on, and then hook up all of your sensors that we have on hooked to everything. And then we will be ready to start it up. But what I want to do is see what is in my radiator. Now I'm curious of what that looks like and how much just garbage is jammed up in there. So let's get to taking that all apart. Okay, I took out all the bolts holding this cover on, and I just got it pulled up and back so I don't have to unhook all my coolant lines. But as you look in here, in between both the radiators is a ton of leaves and dirt. It's a big mess, and it's gonna be nice getting this radiator out of the front of my actual radiator, so my car will stay a lot cooler as well. So this is gonna be very nice. Let me pull out this radiator and we'll see what it looks like. Check out this really cool looking toad that's sitting here on top of my car. I don't know if that's a toad or a frog. Looks like a tree frog. Very cool. Nice. Cool colors too. So as you see, this thing was stopping a lot of airflow to my radiator. It's very nice getting this thing out of there. Now you can see a lot better all the stuff that this thing has sucked up. There's just a ton of stuff in there. Looks like a rat was making a nest or something, but it wasn't. It was just a bunch of stuff getting sucked up into there. As you see, getting some mud daubers on my actual radiator. So it's gonna be nice to get this thing washed out, vacuumed out, and I'll have a lot cooler car. Everything is gonna be nice and cool, not as hot as it's been getting, so. That is 100 times better. I'm gonna definitely keep my car a lot cooler just from doing that. One of these days, I'm going to get the hose and really wash out my radiator really good. But for now, I'm gonna put everything back together. That is all put back together. Now I'm going to put on my air filter, and then we are going to start this thing up. Okay, that is how you bypass your AC and completely remove all of your AC components. I'm very happy I did this. This thing is gonna run a lot cooler without all of that mess in front of the radiator. And I am going to have my heat hooked back up. I'm going to make that new air box and hook up my heater here in the future so I can still defrost my windows, but I don't need the AC. That is way nicer, way lighter, and a lot less strain on the motor. So that is going to be it for this video. As always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We always got something crazy going on this channel, and you do not want to miss it. I will see you in the next one.